snacks, coins, snacks.
You ask, what do stunning coins and delicious snacks have in common?
Hi, I'm Jack McNamara, and I love stunning and rare coins. Oh, and I also love delicious and scrumptious food, too. Join me as I combine the best of numismatics and tasty treats into one show. Coin Snacks with Jack. Put down that tired bologna sandwich and spice up your lunch as I chat with some of the biggest names in numismatics and eat delicious snacks. From coin news and U.S. Mint releases to rare coins and numismatic oddities. From my all-time favorite coins to ancients and commemoratives, get your numismatic midweek pick-me-up with Coin Snacks with Jack. Plus, we'll eat snacks, lots of them.
Hey everybody, Jack McNamara here. You are watching Coin Snacks with Jack, the best show on the internet because it's about coins and snacks. You can watch us here every Wednesday, 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific, on Facebook and YouTube for some good old-fashioned numismatic chats and some tasty treats. And believe it or not, we made it to episode 2. And today, we have a remarkable show. You're going to love it. I'd like to thank and introduce here, we've got Nate, who's today running the board, Colleen, who brings my awesome snacks, and of course, the mysterious Sofer, who kind of keeps me on track and reminds me if I forget something or, you know, chimes in with some interesting facts here and there. So if it wasn't for these guys, we wouldn't be streaming here every week. We also have Alex and Joey. We got a bunch of people helping out. Thank you all, everybody, for helping out. But today, the topic of our show will be the Larry Miller collection. Larry Miller was a true collector. He was an entrepreneur. He owned the Utah Jazz. He owned 60 car dealerships across the country. You know, he was a man of faith and ordained elder in the Church of Latter-day Saints. And besides all these wonderful things that he did, he also was a coin collector. He had a fabulous collection. Recently was auctioned for almost $24 million over 2 sales. It was about 1,600 coins. And what was really incredible were the amount of extreme rarities he had in this collection. There were 36 coins that brought 6 figures. There were 3 coins that actually sold for over $1 million. And you know, Larry is unfortunately no longer with us, but his widow, his wife, actually is giving all the proceeds of the auction to build Primary Children's Hospital in Lehi, Utah, which is just a testament to what a caring man Larry was, and you know, his family and everything. So it's a great show, a great topic, and I have a great guest here, a great friend of mine by the name of Kevin Lipton. He's a wholesale dealer. He's got decades of experience, and thank you so much for joining us here today, Kevin. It's great to have you, great to see you. Give our viewers a little bit of your background. How did you get into coins? Kind of tell us who you are a little bit.
Hey, Jack. Okay. Like Jack McNamara, I'm a Jersey boy. I was born in Teaneck, New Jersey in 1959. Started out in the coin business at a very tender young age of 12 years old. Legitimate coin dealer at 12. I would set up at many a local coin show. And
probably at the Bergen Mall.
I was definitely at the Bergen Mall. Actually, the Bergen Mall was, as a kid, even before 12, there was a coin exchange there. Mm-hmm. And what a great story is, since you said that, it wasn't even a lead-in. It should have been, but it wasn't. The first coin I ever bought and sold for a profit happened at the coin exchange downstairs at the Bergen Mall.
Wow. I remember going to that coin as a kid with my grandfather. That's why I mentioned that.
Yeah, well, there was like 6 separate coin dealers there, and they each had their own like booths, their own kiosks. And the guy in the back I went to, and I was like 12, really just 12, and I bought a 1840 half dime from him for $10. And I forgot his name, But I do remember, I know to this day, the guy up front there that I sold it to, I knew I bought it too cheap. So I just walked to the other end of the store, literally, and sold it to this gentleman by the name of Chris Stolley, who I still know now. And this is, oh my God, almost 50 years later, I'm ashamed to say. But I sold it to him for $35. And that was the moment my life changed. Literally, I had my awakening of life at 12, whereas most people are lucky if they get it, in their 30s or 40s. Literally, I got struck at 12 with a bolt of lightning. So from there, I just started buying and selling coins all the time at all the local shows. And my mom and dad were very kind. They would take their weekends off and they would drive me to regional coin shows in Pennsylvania, Connecticut. And as I traveled more, I met more major coin dealers. And what happened was when I was only 15, I met a man named Jim Halpern, who at the time owned a company called New England Rare Coin Galleries. And he offered me a job when I was 15 years old to pay me $200 a day plus expenses just to buy coins for him. So for me, that was like heaven in a bottle as a kid. Literally, I would get a plane ticket. I would leave school on a Wednesday and fly, whether it was to, where was one of the first places I went to was New Orleans, actually. And I would just go spend money, buy coins. And I had a gift. I was talented. And, excuse me, I was actually hired away by his arch rival at the time, a man named Steve Ivey from Dallas, Texas, who gave me a job. And I moved to Dallas for the summer between my sophomore and junior year of high school. And I lived in Dallas over the summer, had my own apartment. And literally, I was completely immersed in coins every day. I would go to a different coin show every weekend all over the country. And I was doing very well for Steve. I was really like they call me like a wonderkind or whatever. But I had an innate talent for coins, the same way a great musician would be able to play music or an artist. I just saw them differently than other people as a kid. So I did really, really well for Steve. And a matter of fact, Steve had talked my mom and dad that after the summer, he would get emancipated as my guardian so I could live in Dallas full time and work for him. But what happened was I got homesick, went back home, back to Jersey, tried to go back to school, which did not work well for me because I was literally making thousands of dollars a week. And I talked to my dad and I said, I can't do this anymore. And he said, okay. And I quit school and I started Kevin Lipton Rare Coins Incorporated in 1976. Opened up my first office in Paramus, New Jersey when I was 16 years old.
Wow.
And the rest is who I am. Met my wife. I met my wife in the early 80s. Had a baby boy. She hated New Jersey. She's a Texas girl. And we looked and we decided, okay, be the Beverly Hillbillies. And we loaded up the truck and moved to Beverly. And that was 1983. And we've been here ever since. So I'm now a native of Southern California for 37 years.
Wow.
And there's the history of Kevin Lipton in 5 minutes or less.
Well, thank you very much. Now,
done.
Now, before we move on, that's great because I kind of knew your story, but you filled in some pieces for me. I like hearing about the New Jersey places because I know exactly where you're talking about. Because I grew up,
and it's really funny, Jack. Yeah, what's even funnier about it, it's like when I moved here, I knew all my people as a coin shop guy from New Jersey. I'd go all over New Jersey, all over Pennsylvania. And when I was here, I was already older and I wasn't doing that anymore. So like the local business in Southern California was kind of something I never got into because I had already been there as a kid and now I was doing a different kind of business. So it's really kind of funny that all my roots from that kind of situation like yours are from Jersey.
Right. Your contacts and your closest people
are
from
all that stuff.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Yep.
Yeah.
That's funny. So before we move on, like I did introduce, kind of talk about, our topic today is going to be the Larry Miller collection, and you were friends with him. We'll get into that in a minute. Before we get there, as you know, Kevin, this show is not just coins with Jack. This is coin snacks. We got snacks here. So I'm going to introduce the lovely Colleen. I know you know Colleen as well, and she is going to introduce today. She made this amazing cake. So we are going to have some snacks
homemade
with our
cake
coins.
With Colleen.
Yeah.
Usually it's a hoagie with Jack.
When you talk about something special like this special coin collection, and you've got a special guest like Kevin Lipton on, it just calls for cake.
Oh yeah.
So I wore my cake baking apron.
Love it.
And I baked you a cake. And what's
Let them
special
eat
about
cake.
this cake, I guess I'm actually going to turn it around.
There's a big piece missing.
Looks
from that
delicious.
Cake, I noticed.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a
We'll
minute.
get to that in a
Yeah.
minute? Okay.
So this is called a mahogany cake, and this dates back to the late 1800s. And back then, they didn't have chocolate cake. There wasn't cocoa or a chocolate that could be used in a batter. So as soon as they produced this cocoa powder, they were able to make what was called a chocolate cake.
Looks
Now,
phenomenal.
but you can see it's sort of that mahogany color. So this is sort of an exercise in alchemy and chemistry. So, well, first of all, baking a cake back then was no easy task. It was a little bit harder than what I had to do last night. You had to go to the hen house and get your eggs. You had to make your butter, and then you somehow had to regulate an oven at 350 degrees to cook a cake, which would come out evenly cooked.
Did you cook this over a wood fire?
So luckily, I did not cook that over the wood fire. Otherwise, I would still be.
Did you
cooking
churn
it.
your butter?
So, so making this cake, when they use this cocoa powder and buttermilk and vinegar, you get this chemical reaction, and that leads to this crumbly velvet texture, which is why this cake is now known as the red velvet cake. And then back
that's
then,
interesting.
they would frost it with an Ermine frosting. Now that frosting has flour in it, so there was no powdered sugar or confection sugar. You used granulated sugar and flour. Well, that stretched your supply of very expensive sugar, and which was also later rationed, but still to allow you to make a frosting. So you had to cook this and make a custard, and then you beat it with all this butter, and you get this really, really fluffy, sweet frosting. So this time, it was very exciting because we were able to actually share our snack with our guest. So that is why one piece is missing, because Kevin also has.
So Kevin got a... Hey, all right, Kevin.
So let me
Good
cut
for
you
you.
your piece, and then you can share.
Let us eat cake.
Yes, let us eat cake. This is great. So we can nibble on our cake as we discuss the Larry Miller collection here. Thank you, Colleen. This is awesome. Colleen is cutting me a slice of cake as we speak here. I see you're enjoying your cake there.
I'm jumping in. It looks
Let's
too
see.
good.
Tell us how it is, Kevin. It looks awesome.
It's wonderful.
I think Kevin is
Got it?
Kevin's giving it the thumbs up.
Kevin approved.
Kevin
No, it's really,
approved.
Colleen, seriously, my kind of cake. I don't
Kevin
like
says my kind of cake.
those. I don't like those frostings that are like they make you like get high. They have so much stuff in them. You know what I mean?
Yes, Kevin.
like,
I agree.
but,
Kevin,
you know-
Kevin doesn't like the frostings. Colleen can't hear you. I'm relaying the message there.
Oh.
He says he doesn't like those frostings that have so much sugar that they make you high. He says this is more his style of cake.
Like with the
hang on.
butter, the
I'm gonna
buttercream.
take a bite. The buttercream.
I love those.
I'm losing.
Colleen, you can bake a cake for me anytime you wish.
He says you can bake a cake from anytime you wish, Colleen. Oh, that's awesome. Oh yeah, I agree.
Nice.
All right, Kevin, we'll have to have you back in the future and have Colleen make more cakes for us. This is awesome. So anyway, now that we have our cake to share here, let's get back to our topic here. So, as I mentioned earlier, we now know who Kevin is. So Kevin, when the Larry Miller collection was offered, auction November and December through Stax, my former employer, now it's Stax Bowers, they actually asked you to write the biography because you had formed a friendship over the years with Larry, and you were kind of his like coin ambassador. You kind of helped him kind of through his numismatic journey. So could you tell us a little bit kind of about, about Larry, who he was, and kind of how you, became friends with him, and kind of how you, a little bit of kind of that relationship?
Sure. I was introduced to Larry, right around the year 2000 through my friend Dwight Manley, who at the time was managing the great Karl Malone. And Dwight had found out that Larry had become a coin collector, and Dwight had been in the coin business as well for a number of years. And he said, hey, if you're going to build a world-class collection of coins, you should meet my friend Kevin. So Larry invited me up to a jazz game, and I went to his house, looked at what he had been doing so far to start, and we hit it off beautifully. The guy was brilliant. He's one of the most interesting men I ever met in my life. We talked about everything. I saw he had a passion for coins. I knew after.
I'm sorry, I'm just grabbing a shirt.
Great timing. Thank you.
That's live. That's us live on YouTube and Facebook. Here we go.
Wow. I should be eating cake. Anyway, so Larry and I hit it off right away. The guy was a history buff. He wanted to know what, where, why. And he's one of these guys that asks you questions out of sheer curiosity. And I love that about anyone, because I'm the same way. If I'm curious about something, I want to know what it's all about. And I'll ask all the deep, hard questions to find it out. And Larry was that way with me. And we just ended up speaking, having a conversation for almost 2 hours. And I'm thinking, wow, this guy, this major player in the world who owns a basketball team was more interested in talking to me about coins than doing his work, and we realized that we were almost going to be late for the game. So we went to the game, and the coolest thing ever, I had my sons with me. Took us to
Brandon who just
my
walked
kid,
through the screen?
That was Brandon, of course. He was much younger then. Brandon and Kevin, both, he took us to the locker room, which for two young boys that really love sports, I mean, it was Disneyland on steroids, man. And, literally got to know a lot of the players. Karl Malone had us to his house many times. It was a much different scene up in Salt Lake than you would think other teams in the country. Small market. It was really like a family there. So anyway, back to the coins. Larry said, afterwards we got together again, and he actually drove me to the airport, which I'm like, wow, he's driving me to the airport. And he said, you know what, Kevin, I'm really glad I met you. Let's take this in the right direction and get somewhere with these coins. So we started, buying amazing world-class coins of the finest. Imagine. I mean, you have to remember, too, Larry was a guy, he's the true Horatio Alger story. This was a kid that was so poor. His wife, for their wedding, when they got married, sewed her own dress. Oh, wow. I mean, no money for anything. And he became just a brilliant salesman originally, and inventive within the parts department in a company, and just revolutionized really the auto industry in a way that very few could ever say they did. And from there, he started his own dealership and, of course, became an empire. Even to the point where this guy was so interesting. When he went to buy the Utah Jazz, he walked into the room with all of these billionaires and said, hey, I really don't have this kind of money, but I promise you I'll pay you. And literally, they believed in him because of the way he was. And he got this team, and the rest is history. The guy was just one of the most interesting, greatest people I met in my life. I've had the fortune of meeting, especially living in Beverly Hills. You meet all kinds of people. You meet some incredibly rich people. Some of them are really cool. Some are huge assholes. But when you meet rich, powerful people that are the most down-to-earth people you'd ever want to meet, I mean, what a joy. I never saw Larry wearing anything other than tennis shoes, khaki pants, and a Utah Jazz polo shirt, period. That was his uniform, 24/7, man. And what a cool dude.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, when you first met him, I understand. I think it was in the bio. You already knew that he was serious about coins. He had bought some important coins already. So you knew that this was a guy who was, kind of not just a casual collector. This was somebody who was serious.
Oh, no. I put two and two together. I was at the Eliasberg sale.
Before we go too far, let's just, for people who are newer, let's just tell us who the Eliasberg is, because I think it's one of the most important collections ever.
Not one of the most important coin collection ever. Mm-hmm. The only person ever to complete the Red Book and have every U.S. coin made. And he had started collecting in the 30s and 40s. He was in the banking business from Baltimore.
Yeah.
And when he had his first sale, when he had passed away in the late 90s, it was in New York City, and I attended. And this person that I did a lot of business with, Greg Roberts, approached me to consult with him on buying a lot of great coins in the sale. And we did a deal where he said, hey, he had a big client who I didn't know at the time who it was, and he wanted me to advise and help them buy all the right coins. And that's alone amongst many other great things we bought. We bought the fabulous Eliasberg $1804. At the time, I had no idea it was for Larry Miller.
Okay.
I just knew it was for some mystery customer. And then when I met Larry and I saw the coin, I said, aha. I said, believe it or not, I had already participated in you getting your very best coins in your collection.
Oh, that's funny.
So that was kind of funny as well.
That's funny. So okay, so let's go into, as we started talking. So before you met Larry, you figure out now that he'd already bought the $1804 out of Eliasberg, which we'll talk about in a minute. I know he collected a lot of different coins. He got a type coin collection. He collected barber coins. He collected gold Mormon coins. He had unbelievable Morgan dollars. So we'll get into a few specifics here. Let's start with one of the coins. Like we said, there were $3 million coins here. Let's start with his coin, another coin pedigreed to Eliasberg, the 94S dime.
Okay. Well, so, I bought this coin for Larry. I bought it out of a stack sale. I think I paid, if I remember, Jack, around $460,000 for it.
Let me see if I have it in my notes. I don't see it in my notes.
I could look it up, but it's really not important.
It's not,
it was around $500,000. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I had seen most of the 94S dimes.
Yeah, there's only 9.
And I thought, and I had handled one at that time up to then. Now I've handled 4 of them.
Okay.
But at the time, this one was like really literally the most attractive, collector-friendly coin of all of them. And I told him, he was building sets of barber coins. I said, you need the 94S dime. This is the key to your dime set, and
one of the most famous coins in any series. Period.
One of the most famous coins in American numismatics. Absolutely. And he agreed, and we went out there, and we got it at a very good price, even at the time. And we filled that hole. See, when I met Larry, he wasn't collecting everything. He wasn't collecting type coins. I got him involved in that. He was building sets of barber coins, Walking Liberty halves, a lot of 20th century coins. Mm-hmm. And he was also starting to collect Morgan dollars. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't collecting Morgan dollars the way I wanted him to collect Morgan dollars. He was buying nice coins, but not the best of the best, not the greatest in the world. So that's really where I took him on his collecting journey. I said, you know what, Larry, this is who you are, and a man like you should own the greatest and the best. I mean, it's kind of it's a great way of showing who you are, what you've done. And I said, I promise you, if you listen to me, it'll also turn out to be a good investment. And he did. And like that coin sold for almost 3 times of what he paid for it. I think $1.4 million and change.
Yeah, 1.44.
So,
yeah, 1.44.
Yeah, so it was literally, it was like 3 times what he paid for the coin. So,
and I mean, that's
so it's really cool.
Again, for people who are newer here, 24 minted, So, I mean, clearly just from day one of the rarest coins possible. Only 9 known right now to exist. You know, and this one, if I recall, this is the one you were saying that you and other people agree that feel this is the finest known, even though there's a couple others that might be graded a little higher.
Right. I mean, the people that are the sophisticated, whatever, there's a 1 or 2 coins rated 66.
Right.
This is a 65 plus that's also been blessed by CAC CAC.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, this is even not numerically the highest rated, considered by the sophisticated people as likely the finest. It's the one we'd want to own the most.
It's a special coin, for sure.
It certainly is, Ollie.
You know, it's funny. I have a funny 94S story. So, like, you know, I met you probably close to 20 years ago now. I was working at Stax, and you know, you remember me when I was just a noob, a little collector and who got a job at Stax and was, you know, working the counter, helping organize the auctions, kind of learning the business. And one of the, you know, in my first probably year there, they hand me a manila envelope, and you know, at the time they didn't grade very many coins, but they hand me a manila envelope, and you feel the hard plastic, the old capital holder with the screws, and they say, "Here, Jack, we need you to take this coin out of this holder because we're going to submit it for grading." So I open this envelope, and I'm like, like, holy crap.
With that coin?
They gave me a 94S dime in a capital holder. So I physically, with my bare hands, you know, removed it from the holder, like held it, you know. To me, that was just like, I mean, you can imagine, as a noob in the business, it was just like,
absolutely,
oh my gosh, like I couldn't believe it, you know. So that was my moment. And I think that coin, I'm trying to think, because that would have been around 2004, 2005, I forget. But I think that coin sold for about 1.2. I'm not sure which example it was. Or was it this example, do you think, maybe?
I don't know. What year was it?
Somewhere probably between 2004, 2006, somewhere around there probably.
It could have been this coin. I think that's when I bought it from.
Oh, really? So that's
right
funny. So is this one possibly? Oh, that's funny. So I barehanded this one. All right.
Good for you.
So
meant to be.
So as we said, he also, Larry Miller also had a lot of great dollars. I think, you know, we'll talk about some Morgans, but I think the best way for us to do this is kind of chronologically. So we'll start at the beginning. There's a couple other dollars here that are the other coins that sold for over $1 million happen to be some early dollars. So let's start at the beginning here. So 1794, the very first year that a silver dollar was struck by the U.S. Mint. I think there's only, 50 or 75 known at this point?
About 75 known.
Even in a low grade, very good or fine, they're 6-figure coins. But this happens to be a mint state coin. Mint state 62, one of the finest known. This coin sold for $1,050,000. Tell us about this.
50,000. $1,050,000.
Right, 1 million.
This was the buy of the auction, actually. I was the underbidder on this coin. I thought it should have sold for about $1,250,000. It ended up selling for about $1,050,000. But that happens in an auction. Some coins bring a little more, some bring a little less, some bring a lot more sometimes. I thought this coin was a great buy because it was I've owned, again, many of the $94 that are in the finest known. And this coin is manufactured. When I say manufactured, I'm talking about made spectacularly. $1,794 are famous for being unevenly struck.
Yeah.
So if you put this coin up on the screen again, if you can, I'll give you a little idea about what I mean.
Thanks, Nate. Okay, cool.
Okay. If you look around the reverse, it says United States of America.
Right.
Often, you don't see half of United because the coins were, in 1794, crude. They have crude machinery at the mint.
They just started the mint the year before. They didn't know. They were just figuring out how to make coins.
Right. So a lot of coins are just not made well because they didn't have the technology to do so.
Right. And also the major problem that you see besides the weak strikes is the planchets, the blank disc before there's a design on it. They had to weigh them to get the weight right. And they would take a file and file off. So you see so many coins where there's those
heavy
adjustment marks where you might see like a file mark right across Liberty's face, and it can still be technically a high-grade coin, but
Oh,
just the eye
absolutely.
appeal is just shot. It's just not attractive.
Especially when it's across the face.
Yeah.
If it's a little on the rim, not
Right,
so
it's not
bad.
bad. Right.
But when it's across the face, it is. So again, the thing that's so great about this coin is no adjustment marks.
Right.
And then on the obverse, the front of the coin, often you see them where the dates are half disappeared.
Right.
You can see a coin in high grade with a 1 and a 7 almost ghosting away, and the whole left-hand side, those stars ghosting away as well. So the reason I love this coin so much was how beautifully struck and manufactured it is.
Right.
And like I said, I think it was the best deal of the auction. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd have given it one more bid.
Yeah.
I should have bid that $1,000,001 and let whoever wanted it have to pay at least $1,150,000. That's what I think about this coin. But then again, Larry paid under $300,000 for the coin, so he did damn good on this one as well.
Good for him. Yeah. Yeah, because the $1794, again, to compare, the finest known, there is one that's Specimen 66, which some people argue might be the first coin made. We'll never know. Could it be?
Don't say that. I'm one of those people that don't believe it.
What's that?
I don't know what. I don't think there's any reason to bless it as the first one.
Right.
Coin's great.
None of us were there, but it's clearly a special coin. It's clearly a special coin.
Absolutely.
It
has
looks kind of like
silver
a
plug.
proof. Right. It looks like a proof. But I guess just to give context why you're saying this is such a great deal, that coin sold for over $10 million. 7 years ago,
Exactly 10 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, okay, so now, besides that mega rarity, this is just a story of mega rarity after mega rarity that Larry put together. Next coin here that I wanted to talk about is another Morgan dollar, another dollar. The king of coins. Coin for 150 years, coin collectors have been calling this the king, have been chasing it, the $1804.
Until we got this, what, with the $1804?
Yeah, $1804.
Yeah. I've been blessed to own 3 different $1804.
Oh, wow.
I own the Dexter coin, I own this coin, and I own the Flanagan coin.
Okay.
And this coin is just a beautiful example. They were not made in 1804.
Right.
They never made a silver dollar in 1804.
1836,
These coins
1834, 1836.
1834 they were made to be included in a special set of coins presented to the Sultan of Muscat and the King of Siam.
Right, we were trying to open up a trade route with Asia, right? And they were given as gifts to these dignitaries.
And this was, yes, so they showed them. So they couldn't present a set of our coins and not have a dollar. Right. So they hastily went and
because they weren't making dollars at that time.
Correct. They didn't make them all the way from, they stopped.
Well, they stopped in 1803, but the records in the mid records showed 1804. So they said, well, let's strike one from the last time we made one. They didn't realize that the coins that were struck in 1804 still had the dies from 1803 date.
Correct. So they, one of the most famous coins in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Part of the most famous set of coins in the world, the King of Siam proof set, if you had that set intact. And this coin's just beautiful. It's a classic. It's the big daddy of all American coins. It's if you're a macho dude, you need to own one if you can afford it. And Larry did. He bought the Eliasberg coin and had himself one of the great rarities. I think he paid a little under $2 million, and it brought about 3.5.
Yeah.
So he once again proved to be a.
I thought I had in my notes what it brought, but I don't have it anymore. The thing too with these that makes this even more spectacular. Any $1804, as you know now, is a $1 million mega rarity. What are there, 16 total, maybe something like that?
Yeah, or maybe a few less.
But there are 3 different classes. There's the class 1, which are the original ones that were struck in 1834 for the Sultan Muscat, and Siam, a few more. There's one class 2, which was overstruck on a foreign coin. They used, I think, Austrian thaler, is it? Something
and that's
like
in the Smithsonian.
That one's in the Smithsonian. And then there's class 3, which were struck a little bit later for collectors who heard about this thing, and they went to the mint.
Heard about it and needed one for themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
So this one is class 1 though, which makes it even a little more special because it's from that first group that were
More desirable for sure. Type 1s are the most desirable for sure.
And how many? I mean, we know there's this King of Siam, Sultan Muscat, or what are there about a half dozen type class 1s? Do you know?
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it makes it even a little more special, a little more important. This coin, you know, it's known as the Stickney specimen. He was I think he's the one who bought it from the mint originally, right? Didn't he get it?
Originally.
So this is
but
actually
it's really the main pedigree that stands with it is Eliasberg, because Eliasberg is the big daddy. But as far as I'm concerned, it'll always be the Miller $1804.
Because is that who you sold it to back in the day?
Right.
I mean,
sure.
Larry Miller, right? I was thinking of Wayne Miller. I got confused. Sorry, that's why I forget the whole topic of our show. But this 1804, before we move on to the next one, which I think is pedigreed to Wayne Miller as well, this coin, the pedigree chain actually goes back to Adam Eckfield, who's the guy who actually made it at the mint. He was the coiner at the mint. So this coin, we know where this coin has been since 1834, which is pretty incredible. You know,
very cool.
You know, very, very cool.
Totally. It is the best pedigreed. It may not be the best graded. The best graded is the child's coin, which is a proof 8, which sold for about, I think, $8 million. But this is the best pedigreed of all the $1804. It has the finest provenance of any of them.
Right, and it's still proof 65 is a gem. Is nothing to sneeze
at.
Still
nothing to sneeze at.
That's a mega coin.
No, it'll fit.
A coin that's almost 200 years old that's still in gem condition. So, all right, so let's move on here. Like I said, we've got a few coins here now into his Morgans. He bought a lot. He bought some mega Morgan dollars. We have 3 coins here that are just incredible coins. They were all pedigreed to Jack Lee. I believe all 3 of these were pedigreed to Jack Lee, who had put together the greatest, you know, he was known as the greatest Morgan dollar collector, greatest collection.
Also a great guy, a lovely man.
Was he? I didn't know.
Lovely man who I knew very well.
Yeah.
He was in the insurance business from Louisiana. Just a cool dude, just a lovely man. Him and his wife would sit up at coin shows all the time. She'd be there sewing and doing tapestry all day long while Jack had fun, you know, buying and selling coins.
I didn't realize he was in insurance. I thought he was purely a coin dealer. He was in.
No.
No. Okay.
He did coin dealing as a side
like
for fun and entertainment. Nope.
Got it. And I think these coins too, I don't know if all 3 of them, at least 2 of them, were pedigreed, like I said, to Wayne Miller, who wrote the original encyclopedia on Morgan dollars, the first book kind of dedicated to Morgan dollars.
And Wayne Miller, no relationship to Larry Miller, by the way.
Right.
Just a coincidence, the same name. Wayne was a guy who's still in the business today.
Yeah.
He's not that active, but he's another guy that's just a great man, a lovely guy I've known since I was a kid, who was like considered like one of the silver dollar gurus from the 70s. You know, that was his era. So, let's talk about Morgan dollars now. What you got for me?
First one we got here, 1884S in mint state 68. It's like a crazy.
So, you know, this and the 86 are my 2 favorites. But the thing about this coin that's so cool, here's what's cool about this coin. You want one? Well, this one's going to cost you near $1 million. But you can buy one for 30.
This one went for $750K in the auction here.
But I did. This is another one that I thought underperformed a little bit. I was hoping it would bring closer to $1 million. I thought, but you know, there weren't 2 guys in the room that needed Morgans at any price. At the right time, this coin would have brought $1 million. You needed one more competitor. Right. The guy that bought it, I know very, very well, and I told him he got a great deal. But the thing about this coin that's so cool is if you want an 84S dollar, you'll get one for about $35.
Right.
You know, so think about it. You can buy one for $35 or of this one. So what does that tell you? It tells you what people are willing to pay for the finest of finest.
Well, it's like here we talk all the time about condition rarity, and this is a prime example of that. Like you said, you could buy a dog damaged coin for $35.
This is the ultimate example of condition rarity.
Yeah, I
There's
mean, there's
actually
only
not a
6
better.
coins graded 60 above 65, and this is just like.
This has always been famous as the monster of monsters since it walked into a small coin show in the early 70s. And Wayne bought it then. And another great guy in the history of numismatics, David Hall, bought it for his for a customer of his. I think the guy's name was Bodway, who he bought it for.
George Bodway,
back in the 70s.
I have it in my notes. Yeah.
And David Hall, as you know, your viewers may not know, is the founder of the professional coin grading service.
Right. He went on to found PCGS. This was before PCGS, though. This was the 70s.
Oh,
right?
long before,
Way
yeah.
before.
No, a very dear friend of mine for 45 years. So this coin is just the greatest example of condition rarity in anything. The coin is usually found circulated, very easily obtainable in circulated condition, but once it gets into a higher grade of mint state, it becomes incredibly rare. That coin was spent and circulated like crazy all throughout the country.
Yeah, and this one, I'm just looking at the catalog here. The quote, Wayne Miller calls this a wonder coin, and I think we all agree with that.
True to that.
So let's move on. Here's another one that belonged to Jack Lee. It was a plate coin in Wayne Miller's book. You already mentioned this one. Wayne Miller describes this as the most spectacular Morgan dollar now known. This is the 86.0 graded MS67 deep mirror proof-like.
Okay, now this is another coin that's a condition rarity like the 84S. This coin sold for how much, Jack?
$780,000.
Okay, I hate to describe a $780,000 coin as a bargain, but this coin was a bargain. A dear friend of mine by the name of John Albanese, who owns CAC, bought it because he thought it was just a really good deal, a bargain. And this is another coin that in circulated condition you can buy for under $40. The thing that makes this one so special is the deep mirror proof-like surfaces.
Right.
It's just there's nothing close, nothing comparable, nothing in the same neighborhood, area code, or state anywhere that compares to this freak of a coin that managed to stay preserved in this amazing condition.
Yeah, in my notes, so this is a 67 deep mirror proof-like, which for people who are new to collecting, that means these coins aren't made to be a proof. It's made for circulation, but it was made from dies that were new, freshly polished, so it looks like a proof. It's not made to look that way. It just happens to be
one of the first coins, one of the first coins off the die.
Just a wonder coin.
And just miraculously saved and not banged around. Someone at the time it was made picked it, saved it, and put it away from the day it was made.
Now, what makes this even more, the big deal of this, why it's such a condition rarity, why it's a coin that really, there's no reason this shouldn't be $1 million coin. It's right there. This is 67 deep mirror proof-like. The closest, next highest grade in deep mirror proof-like is an MS64. So it's not like there's 3 MS66s and 20 MS60. There's nothing above MS64. There's no 66s, no 65s. And even in non-deep mirror proof-like, not even in a normal strike with kind of, satiny fields, the highest grade is only an MS65 plus. So it's not even like there's MS67s that don't have this proof-like quality. Like this coin is like you said, not even in the same state as any other 80.
This coin is standalone, just like the 84S. That's what makes them so crazy.
And then I have one last coin here before we wrap it up, and it's another Jack Lee pedigree coin. This is that 96S in mint state 69. Now, you may remember a few years ago, I actually handled what was graded, the highest graded Morgan, which is the only 69 proof-like. There's only one. There are about 9, I think, mint state 69 Morgans, or 12, something like that. Pretty much all of them are 81Ss and 80Ss because those are the ones that were really made with that kind of a high quality from the start. So 96S is so special.
Well, 96S is a rare coin in gem, regular gem condition.
Right.
Even, I mean, in MS67, a common date is a few $1,000s. This coin in MS67 sold, which was his duplicate, sold for I think about $140,000. His duplicate
Right.
in the sale. So this is like a major rarity in any grade. And this coin MS69 is, you know, just another freak. You know, shouldn't exist. Here it is. Look at me. You know, that's all you can say about it. Just a total freak that it's there.
Incredible, incredible.
Yeah.
So this is great. Thank you for joining. One of the things I thought was cool too, as I went through the catalog and was kind of looking at this before our chat today, was, you know, Larry was a real collector's collector. Like, even though, you know, we're talking about these highlights, these mega rarities, $1 million coins, $700,000 coins. You know, I looked in the catalog. There were coins that were less than $1,000. There were many coins. You know, he was a collector. He was a true collector. It wasn't just, I want some trophies to impress my friends. It was, you know, he was a collector.
Even more important, every time I went up there, 1847 is the year the Mormons arrived in the valley there.
Okay.
After traveling cross country, you know, being persecuted and finally finding a place to settle. So 1847 is the magical year. So whenever I went up to visit him, I would always bring him as many 1847 large pennies, half dimes, dimes, whatever I could, because all Larry wanted to do was, when he taught his class on Sunday, so any kid that could answer a question, a good question, he would pop an 1847 large cent on him as a treat to give them incentive. And it's so meaningful in the history of their culture as well. The other thing that's also interesting to add on it, I know we've gone way over time because my big mouth.
That's okay. The internet is fine with that. There's not a show coming behind us. We go as long as we want.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. So the last thing that's really cool is that the Mormons were actually the very first people to strike an 1849 dated gold coin. The Mormons made their 1849 double eagle before the U.S. Mint ever struck their one coin, which is on the back of the catalog.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's on the back here. You can kind of, it's hard to see, but that.
It's there. So, and that coin brought a few $100,000, but actually the rare one is the 10. There's only 6 Mormon 10s known. And
I think that brought like 800,
$1
that brought 800 something thousand, I think.
Plus the juice, I think 960 all in.
Yeah.
You know, so interested in history, such a blessing that I knew him, and to this day maintain a lovely relationship with his wife Gail. Just some of the coolest people you ever saw. The last time I was up there, they have something up there called chokeberries that are indigenous only to northern Utah and Montana, and they turned it into a syrup. So I came home with a few bottles of chokeberry syrup to have with my pancakes.
So this mahogany cake isn't the first coin snack that you've had other coin snacks before.
Oh, no, I've had every kind of snack imaginable.
Well, this is
and
awesome.
When you talk about cocoa, whoa, had a lot of that when I was younger too. But anyway, it was all good talking to you. It was my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
If you ever choose to invite me back again, you know, happy to talk about coins, but I'm happy to just eat the cake as well.
Oh, look at you! You're better than me. Look at mine.
Oh wow! Yeah, but I had lunch. I bet you didn't. Anyway, it was a pleasure talking with you, Jack, and hope you invite me back one day.
I will. Thank you so much for joining us again. Kevin Lipton, a great friend of mine, great friend of Rare Collectibles TV, and just a pleasure to have you. Thanks, Kevin.
All right, guys, be well. God bless. Stay healthy.
Yes, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy.
All right, take care.
What a great episode here. And again, as you've heard, Kevin, you know, what he did with Larry Miller is the kind of thing we do here with our private advisory team. So anybody looking to build a world-class collection, you know, we're working on some amazing collections right now. We're working on incredible, one of the finest known St. Gaudens collections. We've helped build one of the finest Mercury Dime collections. You know, we've helped, you know, Rick has helped people with some of the finest Proof Morgan dollars, you know, Franklin's, Kennedy's. If you're looking to build the greatest of the great, we are happy to help you. Please reach out to our private advisory coin team. Numbers here at the bottom of your screen right now, and they will help you, you know, build just the collection of your dreams. You know, whether you have a budget like Larry Miller had, or if you're on a smaller budget, we are here to help you build just, a phenomenal collection. So I want to thank everyone for joining us here today. Don't forget to join us every week, Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, on Facebook and YouTube. We're here talking coins, eating snacks, just having a great time here with our coin collections and fellow numismatists and history buffs and snack lovers. We're going to have a phenomenal show next week. Next week is kind of our current events, state of the, coin collecting universe. We're going to talk about kind of all the great things that happened in 2020 and some great things that we expect in 2021 in the world of coins. So join us here on YouTube and Facebook. We are live every Wednesday, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Don't forget to go to our website, rarecollectiblestv.com. We have tons of great coins up there, great information. If you love coins,